So hello adventurers and welcome to the club. Today we are watching a video together. Yep, it's a reaction video. Why not? This one is about a 25 bucks IKEA DIY front basket bicycle hack. Oh, say that 5 times in a row. Okay, yeah, let's just start watching. Doesn't look bad.
Alright, welcome back to another video. This time it's going to be a cheap front rack and basket, IKEA hack style. Yeah, it was kind of hard to get one in Australia, so I was like, I'll just try to build my own.
And he's wearing a beanie inside?
Yeah, this is what I came up with. Hope you enjoy. Cheers.
His brain must be cooking.
Alright, this is what I got from IKEA. It's actually a desk organizer, but it's a nice shallow basket size.
Some spare parts.
And then this cross brace that goes on the back of shelves. It has eyelets which fits an M5 bolt, which is the same size as your eyelets on your bike. Next is the backing plate. This is optional. You can always use an old toe strap or some type of strap. And then yeah, zip ties. I got both of these things from Bunnings, but you can get them from wherever.
Zip ties are
and then some M5 bolts to attach it to your bike. I got those nuts there as
you
well,
got those
just to use as spacers. But you might not need those. Alright, what you want to do is just put your basket on where you want on the bike. I have mine a little bit closer to the wheel because I want to be able to stack stuff on top. But you basically just measure from the eyelet to the first rail on the bottom of the basket. And I'm just eyeing it here, and this is 37 for me. And then you do the same thing on the other side of the basket. Eyelet to the first rail, and then this measured 35 for me. Alright, next thing we're going to do is pop this little rivet out. You just turn it around on the other side, and there's a little hole. You put your screwdriver in the hole and hammer it down, and it should pop out. You can also use a drill, but I don't have a drill. And then here, I'm going to take those measurements that I had. So the first one I'm going to do is 37, so measure from the middle eyelet to 37 centimeters. So it's 40, it's 30, 37. I just use a little marker there, just mark it, and then same with the other side. Measure from the end of the eyelet,
measure twice,
which was 37,
and cut once.
And then yeah, mark it same again, and then that's it. And we're going to bend at those points. Okay, to bend the rail, you can do it whatever way you want. The way I did it, I used a shifter and just put it through the hole.
That is not a shifter.
So yeah, once it's through the hole, you can stop it where you marked it.
I would recommend to put it in a vise and then
use the
gently
shifter
hammer
as a
it
lever
over.
and just push down on it. Pretty straightforward. So yeah, just when you're bending it, just make sure it's the eyelet is straight with the bend, because you're going to be screwing those eyelets.
But I like the idea with the wrench.
So yeah, you just bend it, pretty straightforward, and then bend it, keep bending it until it's 90 degrees. So after you bend it like this, I basically just turned the shifter a little bit so I got more leverage to bend it, and then yeah, just bend it 90 degrees. Alright, and basically do the same with the other side. Basically you're trying to make a U shape. Same method again, just use the shifter, make sure your eyelets are parallel with the bend, if that makes sense. That's it. Alright, you can see once it's done, this is what it looks like, kind of like a U shape. Yeah, you can see the eyelets flat on the top, and then the two bottom eyelets are flat left and right. And then what I did was I basically just put on my bike at that point. You use your M5 bolt or whatever eyelet bolts you have, just to see how it fits. I just remeasured that first measurement just to double check it was right after I put it on. And yeah, it was 35 again. So yeah, same process with other wire. You just basically bend it. And then what you want to do is, see the eyelets on the bottom, you want to bend them out a little bit because it'll make it easier to mount. So I just got some pliers and just bent them.
You got pliers?
Yeah, pretty straightforward here. Just try to bend them out a little bit. Here's what it looks like. You can see I just bend them out. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Alright, next step is just you put the bolt through and put a nut on. I put a spacer nut just because otherwise it would hit my forks. So yeah, I just did that on both sides. Yeah, and just screw them in to your eyelets. Pretty straightforward here. Just make sure the right size is in the front, right size is in the back. And then you can check with your basket, and this is what it should look like. Try to make sure the eyelet holes on the top is centered to your wheel. How you can do this is just bend it freestyle. Here I put the basket on. You can see it's bowing a little bit at the top. So what I need to do was just bend the Y a little bit more. Just make sure it sits flat against the basket. And yeah, here it is. All done. You can see the basket fits right in the middle there. You just space it out so it's centered.
The basket is a bit
straightforward. And then what you're going to do is you're going to zip tie it on there. Alright, so when putting on the zip ties, I learned this technique from a Blue Lug video that I watched. Shout out Blue Lug. Yeah, so basically you just feed it under, you cross it over, loop it around and bring it back up again, kind of like tying a knot. You can see how it works there. And then I just had the squares of the zip ties facing inwards.
Yeah, but zip ties
what I did was I just tied it loose at the beginning, so you do all of them loose. And then
they will get
brittle
very soon.
And once you're happy with the position.
Maximum 2 years.
But yeah, you can see here
he's
all
in
the black
Australia,
squares are facing
probably
towards the center. I did the same with the top here.
I recommend to use
and then just repeat the process on the corners.
Make more sense.
I went one yin from the basket, front and back, and just matched them. But yeah, you can see all the little black squares are facing in. Yeah, you're basically done at this point. What you can do is just run a strap around the basket to the head tube. I just used an old toe strap here. You can do that, and that should, hold up pretty well. Won't be the most stable, but it'll work. And yeah, that's pretty simple. Yeah, and here's what it looks like. It's not too bad. But yeah, I'm gonna show you the next part. So yeah, the next part, I'm gonna create a plate from the eyelet hole of the front brake to the basket. You can see mine's pretty tight, so I'm going to run a few spaces just to make sure it clears the headset.
If you screw long enough,
yeah, yours might be different, but here basically used a plate. The hole for this plate wasn't big enough, so I need to make it bigger.
But it will get in the way of your light if you have a
brake bolt to
light.
fit in. So what I ended up doing was just use a kind of screwdriver, and then I just kind of ground it out just by hand, just to make it a little bit wider. It doesn't have to be that much, so
get some
kind of just muscle it, and then it works just side to side like that. And then you can see that bolt. That's the same size as a brake bolt, but yeah, you can see it fits. So yeah, that's basically all I need to do. And then the next step, you would want to measure just how far you need to bend it to kind of line it up with the top of the eyelet on your bike rack. Here's a bend, but yeah, you'll see how it joins up now. Yeah, so just taking the toe strap off and then undoing the bolt. Pretty straightforward here. I just put in that L-shaped bracket thing and then put in the washers, screw it down. Yeah. And then what you can see is I slipped it in underneath the basket, and then what you want to do is line it up with that hole, and you're going to put just a couple of zip ties through there.
No, use a bolt.
You can put a bolt through there, I just didn't have one, so I'm just going to use zip tie. Yeah, just put one through the center, and then put two through the sides, just like that. You just trim them, cut them up, make sure it's nice and neat, and then just tighten the rest of the zip ties, cut all the excess off. And then yeah, you're done. That's it. Yeah, pretty hyped with the build. You can spend more on a basket if you want to, but yeah, I just went for the cheap option. Maybe in the future I'll get a silver one to match the rails.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, this one comes with a little cork mat for the bottom in case you want to carry stuff so it doesn't fall through the holes. And then it also comes with these spacers.
If you bypass those eyelets,
comes with the two more.
And it's the large size of frame.
You can kind of like
I like
partition out, like if you want
yeah.
a U-lock or a water bottle or something different.
My recommendation would be to use something more lasting than zip ties.
If you want to.
But otherwise, nothing to complain. Very innovative. I mean, the basket is a bit flat, and it will make it impossible for you to use a standard front light unless you use a stem mount, like the vintage ones. Yeah, but otherwise, I like it. Yeah, and don't you forget to do the same thing for me.